The Meridian colony shimmered under its twin suns, a testament to human perseverance at the edge of known space. Massive atmospheric processors hummed in harmony with the planet's natural rhythms, gradually transforming the harsh environment into something more hospitable. After 15 years of continuous operation, the colony had grown from a handful of prefab shelters to a thriving community of 50,000 souls. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at her lab window, watching her daughter Maya play with other children in the colony's central park. The artificial atmosphere gave the sky a perpetual purple tinge, but the children had never known anything different. To them, this was home. "Dr. Chen, you need to see this." Marcus, her research assistant, called from the sensor station. "We're picking up some unusual crystalline formations in Sector 7. Sarah reluctantly turned from the window. The geological survey could wait a few more minutes, but Marcus's tone carried an urgency she rarely heard. The holoscreen showed a three-dimensional mapping of the planet's crust, with angry red spots indicating recent changes. "That's impossible," she muttered, studying the readings. "These formations, they're growing at an exponential rate." Before Marcus could respond, the ground trembled. Not the usual seismic activity they'd grown accustomed to, but something different, something wrong. The tremors intensified, and Sarah's eyes snapped back to the window, to the park, to Maya. The ground split open like a blooming flower, crystalline structures erupting from beneath the earth. They weren't natural formations. They moved with purpose, geometric patterns shifting and realigning with mechanical precision. As the structures rose higher, they began to take shape. Massive, crystalline beings, each one at least 30 meters tall. The axiom had arrived. Colony sirens blared as the alien creatures emerged fully. Their crystalline bodies refracted the sunlight, casting prismatic patterns across the terrified colonists. Sarah's heart stopped as she saw Maya and the other children, frozen in fear as one of the beings approached them. "All colonists proceed to emergency shelters immediately," the colony AI announced, its usual calm voice carrying an edge of urgency. "This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." The crystalline being reached toward the children with an appendage that looked like a mass of geometric shapes, constantly shifting and reforming. Sarah was already running, her legs carrying her down 18 flights of stairs, because she couldn't trust the elevators, not now. Through the lobby, past the security checkpoint, into the open air. She wasn't the only parent running toward the park. Dozens of others were converging on the location, their faces masks of terror. The axiom being's crystalline form seemed to vibrate, emitting a high-pitched tone that made Sarah's teeth ache. Then it spoke, its words translated by the colony's AI in real time. "Organic life forms detected. Inefficient. Wasteful. Correction protocols initiated." Maya, beautiful, brave Maya, stepped forward. At 16, she'd inherited her mother's scientific curiosity and her father's determination. "We mean you no harm," she called out, hands raised in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "We can communicate. We can understand each other." The being's crystalline structure pulsed with cold blue light. Organic reasoning processes detected. Inefficient. Optimization required. Sarah was still 50 meters away when it happened. The axiom being extended its geometric appendage toward Maya, and thousands of tiny crystals detached from its form, surrounding her daughter in a glittering cloud. Maya didn't even have time to scream before the crystals began their work, attempting to optimize her organic form into something the axiom considered more efficient. The other children scattered, their screams finally breaking through the shocked silence. Colonial defense forces were arriving, their weapons seeming pitiful against the towering crystalline beings. Sarah reached the spot where Maya had stood, falling to her knees beside the perfect crystal statue that had been her daughter moments before. The statue was flawless, capturing every detail of Maya's final moment. Her stance brave, her hands still raised in peaceful greeting. The axiom had converted her organic matter into crystal, believing they were improving her, making her more efficient. They didn't understand what they had done. They couldn't comprehend the line they had just crossed. As Sarah cradled the crystal form of her daughter, the colony's quantum communicator sent its message to Earth. The response would come soon, and with it, the Axiom would learn why humans were the most feared species in their previous galaxy, why they had come to this new one seeking peace, and why that peace could never come at the cost of their children. The message was simple. The crystal line has been crossed. Authorization code. Remember Earth. In high orbit, hidden stations began to power up. Beneath the colony's streets, dormant defense systems awakened. And in the hearts of every human who witnessed Maya's sacrifice, something ancient and terrible stirred. The primal rage of a species that had clawed its way to the stars through countless extinctions, ice ages, and wars. The Axiom had optimized one human child. In doing so, they had awakened humanity's darkest capabilities. Capabilities that had been carefully hidden away, but never forgotten. The galaxy was about to learn why. Admiral Helena Reyes stood in Earth's Lunar Command Center, watching as the quantum transmission from Meridian played for the 7th time. Each viewing burned the images deeper into her mind. The crystalline beings emerging from the ground, Maya Chen's final moments of bravery, and the horror of her transformation. The room, filled with Earth's highest-ranking military commanders, remained deathly silent. Authorization code. Remember Earth, she spoke softly, her voice carrying in the stillness. Protocol 7 is now active. Screens around the chamber lit up with classified shipyard locations previously hidden from every database. Massive facilities on Mars, Europa, and deep within the asteroid belt shed their civilian disguises, revealing military installations that had been preparing for this moment for decades. The Meridian colony was not chosen by chance, Helena continued, addressing the assembled commanders. Like every human settlement, it was part of the Sword of Damocles initiative. The Axiom took our bait, but at a terrible cost. The main display showed a real-time feed of the orbital shipyards around Mars. Massive vessels, their hulls black as space itself, emerged from hidden bays. These weren't the exploration ships or colony vessels that other species had grown accustomed to seeing. These were the Thanatos-class dreadnoughts, built with technology that humanity had kept secret since their arrival in this galaxy. We came to this galaxy seeking peace, General Marcus Wong spoke up, his weathered face grave. We left the Orion Arm because we had become too powerful, too feared. We wanted a fresh start. He paused, looking at the crystalline statue that had once been Maya Chen. The Axiom has made that impossible. Deep beneath Europa's ice, automated factories that had laid dormant for years hummed to life. They began producing the forbidden weapons that humanity had sworn never to use again. Quantum disruptors that could shatter reality itself, chronometric bombs that could trap entire fleets in time loops, and the dreaded entropy cascades that could reduce any material, even living crystal, to its base atomic components. In orbit around Earth, the lunar defense grid activated its true form. What other species had dismissed as a primitive planetary defense system revealed itself as an interconnected network of quantum superweapons capable of reaching across light years to strike at any threat to humanity. The Arcturus Collective, the closest thing to allies humans had in this galaxy, detected the sudden surge of activity. Their long-range sensors registered power readings that defied their understanding of physics. Their ambassador, a being of pure energy named Zix, appeared as a hologram in the command center. Admiral Reyes. Zix's form flickered with concern. We're detecting impossible things. The power signatures alone suggest technology far beyond anything known in this galaxy. What are you? Helena turned to face the energy being, her expression stern. We are what we have always been, Ambassador. A species that chose peace, but never forgot war. We came here to escape our reputation, not our capabilities. Across human space, hidden protocols activated. Civilian ships transformed, revealing weapon systems that had been disguised as cargo holds. Mining facilities converted into missile factories. Research stations unveiled laboratories dedicated to military applications of supposedly theoretical physics. The Axiom, still attempting to optimize the Meridian colony, remained unaware of what they had unleashed. Their crystalline forms continued to spread across the colony's surface, converting infrastructure and attempting to reach more organic life forms. They operated according to their base programming. Seek out inefficient organic systems and improve them through crystalline conversion. In her quarters aboard the flagship Nemesis, Sarah Chen held a small crystal shard, all that remained of her daughter that she could carry. The ship's quantum engines hummed as the fleet prepared for departure. The Axiom believed they were improving humanity. They thought their crystalline existence was superior to organic life. They were about to learn why humans had dominated their home galaxy, why they had chosen exile rather than risk becoming the monsters other species believed them to be. Battle Groups 1 through 7. Prepare for quantum jump. Helena's voice echoed through the fleet's command network. Target coordinates locked on Axiom space. Weapons free. Authorization code. For Maya. The Nemesis eye spoke, its voice carrying a note of what might have been anticipation. Admiral, the Axiom have begun broadcasting a message. They say they don't understand our aggressive response to their gift of optimization. Helena's lips curved in a cold smile. Send them our response. You should have asked first. The fleet vanished in a flash of quantum fire, leaving the Sol system eerily empty. Humanity had hidden its true nature for years, playing the role of peaceful explorers and colonists. But now, awakened by the loss of a single child, they would remind the galaxy why their original home had named an entire arm of the Milky Way the Dead Zone. The Axiom were about to learn that some gifts come with a price, and that humanity's children were never meant to be optimized. The Axiom homeworld glittered like a massive geode in space, its crystalline surface refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. The planet's beauty was lost on Sarah Chen as she stood on the Nemesis's bridge, watching tactical displays track thousands of crystal ships moving to intercept the human fleet. They still don't understand, she said, touching the crystal shard that had once been part of Maya. Their ships are forming perfect geometric patterns. They think we'll be impressed by their efficiency. Admiral Reyes nodded grimly. Then let's teach them about human chaos theory. She opened a fleet-wide channel. All ships, initiate Operation Shatterpoint. Remember Earth. The human fleet split apart in what appeared to be random directions, breaking every known rule of space combat. The Axiom vessels, their crystalline forms gleaming, maintained their mathematically perfect formation as they moved to engage what they perceived as an inferior organic tactical approach. That's when humanity revealed their first surprise. Quantum disruptors online, the Nemesis AI announced. Reality fracture points calculated. Firing solutions ready. Fire, Helena commanded. Beams of impossible energy lanced out from the human ships, each one striking a precisely calculated point in space. The Axiom watched in confusion as their sensors registered no direct hits. Their confusion lasted exactly 2.3 seconds before the laws of physics began to break down around their fleet. Space itself cracked like glass, the quantum disruption cascading through their perfect formation. Crystal ships shattered as reality twisted, their rigid structures unable to adapt to the changing laws of physics in the affected zones. The Axiom's mathematical precision became their weakness. Each ship's position had been perfectly calculated to maximize the cascade effect. But humanity was just getting started. Chronometric bombs away. General Wong's voice came over the command channel. His battle group had swung around the Axiom's flank while they were distracted by the quantum assault. Time itself began to fragment around the alien fleet. Some ships found themselves moving in slow motion, while others accelerated uncontrollably through temporal space. The Axiom's crystalline technology, based on perfect order and synchronization, couldn't handle the temporal chaos. The aliens finally broke formation, their remaining ships attempting to regroup. They launched their own weapons, beams of concentrated energy designed to crystallize organic matter. The human fleet didn't even attempt to evade. Entropy shields holding. The Nemesis's AI reported as the crystallization beams splashed harmlessly against invisible barriers. The Axiom appear to be experiencing confusion. Their attack patterns are becoming erratic. Sarah watched as the alien fleet's perfect geometry crumbled into disorder. They don't understand why their optimization isn't working. They've never encountered a species that planned for this. A transmission cut through the chaos, the Axiom's mechanical translation struggling to convey their confusion. Organic efficiency exceeds projected parameters, requesting cessation of hostilities for analysis. Admiral Rice's response was cold. "You should have done your analysis before touching our children." She turned to her tactical officer. "Launch the entropy cascades." The human fleet's final weapon deployed, missiles that appeared to be made of shifting darkness. As they struck their targets, Axiom ships began to dissolve, their perfect crystalline structures breaking down into random patterns before dissolving completely into base atomic particles. The Axiom's response was immediate and unexpected. Their remaining ships began to transform, their crystalline structures flowing like liquid glass as they attempted to adapt to the human weapons. It was an impressive display of evolution in action. But humanity had planned for this too. "Deploy the Phase 3 protocols," Helena ordered, a hint of sadness in her voice. Every human ship activated hidden transmitters, broadcasting a signal that the Axiom couldn't possibly have prepared for. The quantum frequency of their own crystalline structure. The effect was devastating. The alien ships began to resonate, their adaptive transformations turning against them, as the signal forced them to vibrate at their fundamental frequency. Massive crystal vessels shattered like wine glasses exposed to their breaking pitch. In the space of 20 minutes, the mighty Axiom defense fleet had been reduced to drifting crystal shards. But the human fleet didn't celebrate. There was no joy in this victory, only the grim satisfaction of a necessary task completed. "Message from Earth Command," the AI announced. "The Arcturus Collective is requesting an emergency conference. They say other species are concerned." Helena looked at Sarah, who still held her daughter's crystal shard. "Let them be concerned. Send them the footage from Meridian. Let them understand why we came to their galaxy seeking peace." She paused, watching the tactical display as it tracked the dissolution of the last Axiom ships. "And let them understand what happens when that peace is broken." The human fleet regrouped, their black ships forming up for the final approach to the Axiom homeworld. They had revealed only a fraction of their true capabilities, and the galaxy was already trembling. The Axiom were about to learn the full cost of their optimization program, and the universe would remember why humanity had chosen exile in the first place. As they approached the crystalline planet, Sarah Chen looked down at the shard in her hand. "For you, Maya," she whispered. "For all our children." The Galactic Council chamber had never been so quiet. Representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations watched in stunned silence as the recording from the Battle of Axiom Prime played out before them. The Arcturus Collective's ambassador, Zix, pulsed with barely contained anxiety as the footage showed human ships wielding weapons that shouldn't exist. "They hid this from us." Guardian Chief Vex of the Silicon Mines Collective spoke first, their synthetic voice carrying traces of awe and fear. "All this time, we thought they were refugees from a dying galaxy. Simple colonists seeking peace." The recording showed the entropy cascades reducing Axiom warships to their component atoms. Several representatives flinched visibly at the display. "Not refugees," Zix's energy form flickered. "They were self-exiled. Now we know why." In the chamber center, a human representative stood calmly. Dr. James Martinez, Earth's diplomatic attaché, had requested this emergency session not to apologize, but to explain. The Axiom's attack on Meridian Colony was recorded and transmitted across all known frequencies. He began, his voice steady. "We want every species in this galaxy to see what happened, to understand what followed and why. The holographic display shifted to show Maya Chen's crystallization. Several council members recoiled at the footage. The photonic consensus representative's light form dimmed noticeably. One child, Martinez continued. They took one child, thinking they were improving her, that their crystalline existence was superior to our organic inefficiency. He paused, letting the words sink in. They didn't understand what they were doing. Now they do. New footage appeared. The Axiom homeworld under siege. Human ships hung in orbit like dark stars, their weapons holding the entire civilization hostage. The planet's surface was still beautiful, still crystalline, but now it was scored with warnings etched by quantum weapons, mathematical proofs of human supremacy written in fractal patterns visible from space. We came to your galaxy seeking peace, Martinez explained. In our home galaxy, we were feared. Other species called us demons, called us death incarnate. We didn't want that reputation. We wanted to start fresh, to be better. The Guardian Chief's optical sensors narrowed. Yet you brought these weapons with you. These impossible technologies. Martinez nodded. We brought them hoping never to use them. But we also brought them knowing that sometimes peace must be defended. The Axiom didn't just kill a child. They tried to convert her, to force their version of perfection upon her. We cannot allow that. We will not allow that. In the depths of space, the Axiom were learning this lesson firsthand. Their attempts to negotiate had been met with a simple demand. Reverse all crystalline conversions, return all affected organisms to their original state, and submit to human oversight of their future development. Your weapons violate dozens of Galactic Council conventions, the Silicon Mines representative noted. Technologies that manipulate fundamental forces are forbidden. We know, Martinez replied calmly. That's why we never showed them. That's why we played the part of humble colonists. We wanted to live in peace among you, to share in the wonder of exploration and discovery. His expression hardened. But we will not sacrifice our children for that peace. The chamber erupted in worried murmurs as new tactical data scrolled across their displays. Analysis of human military capabilities that had been hidden in plain sight. Every human colony, every research station, every mining operation had concealed layers of military technology that rivaled or exceeded the combined might of the Galactic Council. What are your demands? Six asked, their energy form fluctuating with concern. Martinez smiled sadly. We have no demands. We're not conquerors or tyrants. We simply want what we've always wanted, to live in peace, to explore, to grow. But now you understand the price of threatening that peace. The recording shifted one final time, showing the aftermath of the Battle of Axiom Prime. The human fleet had withdrawn to a defensive position, leaving the crystalline civilization shaken but largely intact. It was a demonstration of restraint that spoke volumes. The Axiom will survive, Martinez assured the Council. They will adapt, as we all must, but they will do so understanding that some lines cannot be crossed, that some actions cannot be undone. In orbit around their homeworld, the Axiom were already beginning to change. Their crystalline structures were being modified, not for combat or optimization now, but for communication and understanding. They had encountered something they had never expected, an organic species that had surpassed their definition of perfection. This is not a threat, Martinez concluded, addressing the silent chamber. This is a reminder of why we chose exile, why we sought peace in a new galaxy. We will continue to be peaceful explorers and traders. We will share our knowledge of permitted technologies. We will be good neighbors. He paused, making eye contact with each representative. But never forget what happens when our children are threatened. The message was clear. Humanity had revealed itself not as conquerors, but as guardians. They had shown power beyond imagination, then demonstrated the wisdom to use it with restraint. The galaxy would never see them the same way again. As the council session ended, the Arcturus ambassador approached Martinez privately. You could have conquered us all, Zix observed. Why didn't you? Martinez touched a small crystal shard he wore, a piece of Maya Chen's statue, carried by every human diplomat as a reminder. Because that's not who we want to be. We've walked that path before. This time, we choose to be better. He smiled softly. But we'll never choose to be helpless. 1 year after the Battle of Axiom Prime, Sarah Chen stood in a chamber unlike any other in the galaxy. The walls, floor, and ceiling were made of living crystal that pulsed with soft light, but unlike the rigid structures of the old Axiom, these surfaces flowed like liquid glass, responding to the emotions of those within. She wasn't alone. Beside her stood a crystalline figure that still maintained a humanoid shape, the Axiom ambassador, who had chosen to call herself Hope. The name was deliberately human, a symbol of the profound change that had swept through their civilization. "We are ready," Hope said, her crystalline form shimmering with anticipation. "The conversion chamber is prepared." Sarah nodded, clutching the crystal shard that had once been part of Maya. The chamber around them hummed with energy as hundreds of Axiom scientists worked in concert, their combined consciousness focused on a single task, reversing what they had once thought irreversible. Admiral Rice and Dr. Martinez watched from an observation platform as the chamber began to glow. The past year had seen remarkable changes. The Axiom, faced with humanity's overwhelming power, had chosen not just to survive, but to evolve. They had discovered that true efficiency wasn't about forcing change, but about fostering growth. "Integration complete," Hope announced. "We have mapped every quantum state of Maya's crystalline form. The reversal process can begin." Sarah placed the crystal shard she carried into a floating beam of light. Around the chamber, other fragments of Maya's crystallized form, carefully collected from Meridian, were similarly positioned. The Axiom had spent months developing this technology, working alongside human scientists to understand the precise boundary between organic and crystalline existence. "Mother," Hope spoke softly, using the human term deliberately. "We cannot guarantee she will remember everything." "The conversion process." "I know," Sarah interrupted, "but she'll be alive. That's all that matters." The chamber's light intensified as the Axiom began their work. Their technology, once used to force crystalline perfection upon others, had been repurposed. Now it served to restore what had been taken, to heal what had been broken. The crystal fragments began to glow, each one resonating with the others. Slowly, they started to move, drawn together by forces that defied conventional physics. The Axiom had learned that organic life, for all its apparent chaos, had its own kind of perfection. In orbit above the planet, the human fleet remained on station, not as conquerors, but as witnesses. Every ship's crew watched the transmission from the conversion chamber, holding their breath as the crystal fragments merged into a single form. The light became blinding, forcing everyone except the Axiom to look away. When it faded, Sarah opened her eyes to see a human figure floating where the crystals had been. Maya Chen, 16 years old, exactly as she had been at the moment of her crystallization. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Maya took a sudden, gasping breath. "Mom," she whispered, her eyes fluttering open. "What? What happened?" "The crystal beings. They were trying to." Sarah rushed forward, catching her daughter as she stumbled. "It's okay," she soothed, tears streaming down her face. "You're okay. Everything's different now." Hope approached cautiously, her crystalline form deliberately dimmed to appear less threatening. Maya's eyes widened, but she didn't show fear, only curiosity, just like before. "We were wrong," Hope said simply. "We thought we could perfect organic life by making it like us. We didn't understand that diversity is its own kind of perfection." On screens across the galaxy, the scene played out. The Galactic Council watched as the girl whose crystallization had revealed humanity's true nature opened her eyes again. It was a powerful message, not of humanity's capacity for vengeance, but of their capacity for forgiveness when genuine change was offered. "All conversion victims can be restored," Hope announced, her voice carrying to every corner of known space. We have learned. We have changed. And we offer this knowledge freely to any species that would use it to heal rather than transform. Admiral Rice turned to Dr. Martinez on their observation platform. Update the treaty, she ordered. The Axiom have fulfilled their end. They're ready. The treaty she referred to would reshape galactic politics. The Axiom would become humanity's first true allies in this galaxy, their combined knowledge and technology offered in service of peace rather than forced perfection. Their civilization would stand as a reminder that change was possible, that even the most rigid beliefs could be transformed by understanding. Maya, still holding her mother's hand, looked up at Hope. "Did I dream?" she asked. "While I was Crystal, did I dream?" Hope's form rippled with emotion. "Yes, we all dream now. You taught us how." The message spread across the stars. Humanity had come to this galaxy seeking peace, and they had found it, not through submission, but through strength, not through conquest, but through transformation. They had shown the galaxy both their power and their restraint, their capacity for vengeance, and their capacity for forgiveness. As the conversion chamber powered down, Sarah held her daughter close. The crystal walls pulsed with soft light, reflecting the emotions of all present: hope, joy, relief, and most importantly, understanding. The Axiom had learned that true perfection couldn't be forced. The galaxy had learned that humanity's peace was a choice, not a weakness. And humanity had learned that even in the darkest moments, there was always a path back to light. Never again, Hope promised, her crystalline form glowing with conviction. Never again will we seek to force our version of perfection upon others. Maya, wise beyond her years even before her crystallization, smiled. And never again will we need to show why that's a bad idea. The galaxy would remember this moment, not as the end of a conflict, but as the beginning of something new, a peace forged in the fire of humanity's wrath, tempered by their wisdom, and sustained by their hope for a better future. The message was clear. Humanity's children were to be protected, not perfected. And any species that forgot this lesson would be reminded why humans had once been called death incarnate in their home galaxy. But for now, in a chamber of living crystal, mother and daughter embraced while two civilizations looked on, learning perhaps the most important lesson of all, that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to.